Yo, what's good, gamers? My name is Dr. Ryan Terao PsychSensei, and I'm super stoked to bring you another AMA session with the Voltaic Aiming Discord community. But before we jump into that AMA, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and remember to share so we can continue to level up and get closer to our final form. And also, if you never want to miss a wise word from your sensei, please remember to follow him on Twitter at psych_sensei. Visit my website at psychsensei.com and join my Discord community so we can continue this conversation into the future. And remember, gamers, stronger mental wins. But with that all being said, let's just jump in that AMA.
Of being tuned in so much to it, and it's very obscure. It's not like anything I've experienced before, I will be honest.
Yeah, health anxiety is a really interesting one. Have you noticed something specifically in your health that you are focusing on? Is it like you're worried that you're gonna get sick all the time? Like, is there a specific thing in game that gets triggered when you think of this health anxiety or what have you?
um I think like it probably transpires to a degree from having friends who've had um like issues with like their physical health as well. Like I've had unfortunately two friends when I was young like pass away just from sudden
Wow.
arrhythmic death syndrome.
Whoa.
And all of yeah, and like obviously like knowing that, it's just a bit like it's a bit weird. And I don't know, yeah, I mean like it is something that I suppose I should probably really one day take the time and sit down with myself and try and nail to the crux of
Mm-hmm.
where the source of the issue comes from, if you will. But because of like I would say like my anxiety kind of comes around from environment where I've
Mm.
known people in my life to have these things happen to them, and it's kind of like there's that niggling feeling in the back of my head that I'm next. You know what I mean? And I
Whoa.
don't get to control that. Yeah.
Whoa.
And it's
Okay.
it's very odd. Yeah.
Well, let's not you do some self-judgment. That's just how you think and
Yeah.
that's what you think. So, that's just how it is. It is what it is. I'm thinking
Yeah.
for you too. It sounds like the thoughts start running away for you. Like when something one thought happens, then it leads to another thought and you start spiraling, right? I think the first step
Sure.
with any of these things is like having that awareness of what's happening, when is it happening, why is it happening? That's the first step, right? Because if we have
Yeah.
no awareness, we can't really do anything. So that's good that you have it. Now, the second
Okay.
step for you is okay, are we talking about I mean, there's levels to this game, right? Are we talking just managing that anxious feeling that you're having, those worrisome thoughts in the moment? Is it doing the deeper work and seeing where those thoughts are actually coming from and, getting it at the source? So it kind of really depends of, what you really want to do, or if it's, if you think about games and performance, it's providing those coping strategies and skills that will get you, like, I guess it would go under like anxiety first aid or stress first
Yeah.
aid or what have you. So you can deal with it in the moment and then continue to play the game at a high level. So with
Yeah,
you in
sure.
this moment, I'm wondering if it's just like, okay, I'm noticing that this is happening. Okay, let's stop. And if it's a somatic body thing, okay, let's try some breathing, let's try some walking, let's just change your environment. And then if it's a cognitive thing, okay, how realistic is that thought, is that fear that you're gonna drop dead right now? Of course, there's a chance that you might do that, but probability wise, how is that? And are you still alive right now? Are you still alive after this thought? How is this thought helping or hindering you from living your best life? So I think all these things you can kind of think about to walk yourself back. By the same time, my suggestion would be not to fight this feeling, not to like let this feeling, at the same time, not let it take over you. But at the same time, I think like a sneeze, like a yawn, trying to hold these feelings in or back might be a little more detrimental. So again, experiencing, having your techniques to kind of calm you down if you need them, but at the same time, thinking about the cognitive things of how realistic is this thought, and then also what
Yeah.
happens when we continue to think about this thought. Do we give it more power and more control over our lives, or are we just not leaning in to see like the reasons for it to make it smaller and less scary? I don't know. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah, definitely. I think like it's but definitely one of those where in the moment it can be quite
Oh
difficult
yeah.
to yeah, like it's a bit of a weird one because like in the moment it can be very difficult
Mm-hmm.
to understand that the thought process is very irrational. You see, so
Yes.
like it's like a very overwhelming constant thought process, and when I do kind of try and take that time to do think rationally, don't get me wrong, like on occasions it's absolutely fine. I can sit down, I can maybe journal it, and it seems to release it. But then there are other times where it's like the rational side of the thought process can't seem to squeeze in. You know what I mean? It's like there isn't a door that it can open for it to like allow itself to come in. And there have been times maybe where I'm just playing, like maybe a game on League or CS, or if I'm in a raid on Tarkov, and then something will happen, or something will, I don't know, there could be a trigger, or it could even just literally creep up on me, and then I've had to like literally quit the game during the process to go and calm down. It's like, obviously sometimes there's like the SOS, and then sometimes there's the ability to just take 2 minutes, take a deep breath, and kind of carry on with it, really. But I think like moving forward from it is probably something that like I could do with really spending that time and trying to figure where it's coming from, you see, and like where that it's like where it materializes from, because once I've kind of found the source, it would be something that I feel like when I'm in that moment of irrationality, I can kind of actually allow that rationale to kick in to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this kind of relates to many gamers when it comes to, well, we'll just categorize this entire topic as emotional dysregulation, right? When you're stressed out, you're anxious, you're worried, you're tilted, you're angry, any of these things, right? When your emotions kind of take over your cognition. The first step is, again, awareness that it's happening. And the second step, like you're saying, is to create that space, right? So how can we find those moments of peace? How can we create that space where you can access your higher level of thinking a little bit more clearly? For some people, so my suggestion is take a break, dude. Like, walk it back, just calm down a little bit so you're in that settled space so you can have a clearer mind so you can proceed and think more clearly and use your strategy and what have you. So some people are different. Some people use different techniques to calm down. Breathing, removing yourself, all of these things works, but it definitely just depends on what works for you. And then I think the second piece of what you're saying of like actually seeing cognitively of where these things are coming from, how real are they? I noticed that you said that you like to journal, which I really like. And then even in your journal processing, something you can do is even ask yourself, where is this coming from? How real is this? How is this helping me? Do I like this? What are some things that might be useful for me to try to kind of walk myself back? So even going through that thought process and testing yourself, that's something that you can do. But yeah, I think that it's really important that you find what works for you. And yeah, if you want to get a therapist or a counselor to kind of see that deeper thing of that health anxiety of how am I feeling, because I can only imagine if you're focusing on your body or do I feel sick or I'm okay, and that's taking cognitive load away from you being able to focus on what you need to do in game.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree, and it is very odd, but yeah,
stop it. Stop it with the self-shaming. It's not odd. It is what it is. This is how you think, and that's okay. I'm glad that we're talking about it and that you can see it. But the self-labeling, stop it. The negative self-talk, man, stop it. It is what it is. We all think a little bit differently. We all have our own anxieties and fears about stuff, and yours just happens to be on health. So hey, we roll with it, dude.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I just wanted to take the time anyway just to say thank you very much for allowing me to ask. Yeah, that's been really insightful.
Hey, well, thank you for being brave and for being the first one to come up, man.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And yeah.
Okay.
Arigato. Thank you very much.
Doitashimashite. I got you. My C- in Japanese is paying off. All right. Other questions that you guys might have. Sorry, dude. I just threw you back in the audience. But thank you so much for asking your question, Ian. Other questions regarding tilts. I mean, that was a really interesting topic of anxiety and dealing with anxiety in games. And I think that's such a common experience for most gamers, and it does not be health related. It could be doing my performance, it could be how people see me. When we think about anxiety, it's just those worries or those thoughts of the oh no's, what ifs, those types of thoughts. On the other hand, I've also experienced other players that focus too much in the past. The why did I do those things? Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I wish I could have, should have, would have. There's they fall on both sides of the spectrum, either past focused or past focused or future focused. And I mean, if I relate this back to my experience in my clinical work, what you think about with the future orientated thinking or the worries, we think of anxieties, right? But if you think about the oh no's, what ifs, if onlys, we think more about like depression flavors. And so it's really interesting to see how people, what people worry about or where people's minds start going when things aren't going their way. But yeah, I'm just rambling. So other questions that you guys might have about performance, esports, how you can better your skills, your mental, your habits, anything like that. And please, this is a discussion. Like, I would love to talk to you and help all of you and what you need. If not, like, give me a topic of what you guys want me to talk about, because I'm just gonna ramble. I'll play a little bit music in the background. Perfect. I mean, what is something that you guys struggle with in your games or have trouble with in your games when you're trying to play or improve or learn more? Like, what's some things that you guys run into or have run into when trying to improve yourself? Oh, I got you. I see you. I got you. I got you. Boom. Come on in. I sent that invite. Let's go. I wish I could just drag people on stage, but I have to invite you and you have to respond to it. But yeah, darling, come on stage, man, and accept my invite, and we can definitely talk. Yo, darling, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being brave. See, it's part of. I feel like that's half of it. Like I'm trying to. If you want to see what I look like, again, my Twitch wasn't working, but it's working now. So if you want to see what I look like, we can converse on Twitch. I don't bite, So, darling, thanks for being brave, bro. What's up? What's your question? How can I help you, bro?
Well, first, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time, and thank you, Voltaic, for having this. My question comes from I play Overwatch,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you've ever played, but it's a really
Poorly.
team-based game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I play DPS, so often in my games, I get into these situations where I notice my team is kind of like losing a fight or something, and I feel like this need to turn the fight almost and like try to go for these impossible shots and then normally fail because like they're not really practical and you kind of have to get out of position to hit them and stuff like that. But then afterwards, when I don't hit the shot that I shouldn't hit even in the first place, I tend to beat myself up over it and then think like, oh, if I just hit that shot, I could have saved the fight, blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of makes me perform worse the rest of the game. I was just wondering if you... Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering if sorry for cutting you off. I was going to say, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, even when I know it's not my fault, when I look back at the game, like, I know my team might have just played poorly, or I could have said something that stopped a mistake from happening, but I kind of put it on myself, and
Yeah.
it ruins the rest of my gameplay.
I feel that. Okay, well, first question: are you playing Valorant like in solo queue, or are you playing with like on a comp team of like?
I'm playing Overwatch, and it's solo queue, yeah.
Okay, so how's the communication in Overwatch solo queue?
I think it tends to be slightly less toxic than Valorant, but it's still one of the more toxic games out there.
Okay. Yeah, and also, like, I'm guessing that you don't have really clear comms or you don't play with these people all the time, so it's kind of hard to see or do all, like, coordinated plays because solo queue.
Yeah, it's complete randoms every game, yeah.
Word. All right, so let me understand this problem. So something that you're talking about, the challenge that you're having is when you're in the middle of a game, a ranked game, and your team is basically losing or they make poor decisions, you feel like you need to put the team on your back and make some crazy play to save everything. But even even when you do those crazy things and you get shot, or you miss a shot, you're like, oh, I could have carried only if I only hit the shot.
Pretty much.
That only if I did this thing better, we would have won.
Pretty much.
Got you. It's really interesting that you say that because it's like the reverse of the common problem of it's everybody else's fault and not mine. You know, when you get into that thing of like, oh, my teammates are just garbage and trash, you know, and they just like beat everybody else up. But it's funny that you put the responsibility back on yourself of like, oh, this is something for like, if only I did better, then I could have did it for the team. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I mean, let's just talk about where are you placing your thoughts of control or what can you control when you're playing this game? What's your sense of control?
Well, right now in Overwatch, DPS is probably the least impactful role. So you can't control the game as much as your tank players or your support players can. But what you can do really well is finish off final blows. So like eliminate enemy players when they're low HP and stuff like that. But you don't really get to make space or save any of your teammates as a DPS. You kind of just have to hit the shots and go on flanks.
Got you. Okay, so this is really interesting because as I asked you about control, you're saying, you know, DPS as a role, like my job is to finish people off. I don't really have control over making space or making plays. I'm here to do damage and finish people. And it's just really funny because if that's your role and everyone else is kind of dying, how are you supposed to do your job? And so it's almost like you're trying to take control over something that you have no control of, what your teammates are doing, the spaces that's being created for you. Sure, you can create opportunities for yourself as a DPS, but at the same time, it's a team game. You need people to be in front of you, to protect you, to peel for you. And if they aren't doing their role, how are you supposed to do yours?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, man, it's funny that how you acknowledge like this is my role, this is what I have to do. At the same time, if only I played better, you know, I could have done more or I could have won the game. And I like the sense of responsibility. I love the sense of power and control in yourself. But at the same time, where does this mentality kind of go wrong for you?
If something like that occurs in the middle of a game or the start of a game or something, after I miss that impossible chance or whatever, I tend to play worse the rest of the game because I tend to think like, oh, it's my fault that my team is losing, even if I did like the basic requirements correctly.
Or what I see, probably not even basic requirements. If you probably went over and above of what you were supposed to do, you still feel like if I only did this, then we were supposed to win. Okay, so let's first of all let's split in your mind solo queue. And do you play on a competitive Overwatch team yet or anything like that?
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, when you do, they're two different games. Okay, that's what I like to start with, telling off all my players or people that I work with when they start getting tilted, especially at solo queue. It's like you're not playing a team game. You're playing a version of the game that's kind of like the game, but it's not the competitive version of the game. Sure, when you play solo queue, it is competitive, but it's not the game. Like I said, it's a different version. So understanding that in general and then catering what you're trying to get out of that experience, matching your intentions with the game's intentions might be the first step. You know, because once you understand that you're playing a little bit differently, you might have to play a little more selfishly or what have you, or just cater your play to the mode in which you need to. I mean, that might help the mental, just step one. The second step, I think, is understanding, yes, you can control what you can control, and you can't control what you can't control. So it seems like, to me, when you're talking about your role at DPS, you understand what your role is, what you're supposed to be doing, and how you can play that role optimally. At the same time, yes, it feels bad if your team isn't doing what they're supposed to or not fulfilling their role. At the same time, I'm guessing, and this is my hypothesis of you, and you can let me know how accurate this is, and we can kind of go from there. But my guess would be that when you go into these games and you have this attitude of, man, if I only did this more, you beat yourself up, and like you said, your play probably goes down from there because if onlys, and you're thinking about past plays or something. How accurate is that hypothesis?
That's pretty accurate. I find myself struggling to reset and focus on the next team fight that's occurring.
Absolutely. So going back to that thing I was talking about with anxiety being future focused and the should coulda would have, that depression flavor feeling like past focused. Even for you especially, it's going to be, how can we stay in this moment? You know, how can we say, all right, I did this. I did everything I could. I tried to hit that shot. I was the only one left, or I didn't have a tank, or, you know, they had just like 4 tanks or 3 tanks and they're just on me the entire game. Okay, it is what it is. That was that game. This is how I'm going to change my play for the next one. You know, it's having that like short-term memory, or even trying to bring yourself more to the present in what is happening in this game right here, right now. Because like you've noticed, if we focus too much on the past, we think about my teammates could have done, or even what I could have done better or hit that shot, we're no longer playing this present game. And then if we don't focus on the present and we focus on the past, it begins to spiral. And we get into this bad loop, right? Of this hard mental, there's more negative mental. So I think maybe those 3 suggestions might help you with focusing on the present, understanding what you can control and focusing on that. And I mean, maybe even holding people accountable for what they could be, should be doing, right? Versus yourself, because especially if you know what you're doing. And then the third one being understanding that you're playing solo queue and taking solo queue for what solo queue is. You know, sometimes it's not always coordinated. And at the same time, focusing on the specific skills that you are trying to get out of this game or this experience, so you can learn that thing to copy it and be consistent in the future, so you can continue to climb. That's separate from your teammates. How's that sound?
That sounds pretty good. It sounds like it's hard to practice because it's not like I can't just go play Kovacs and train that. But
Ooh, that's excellent. Excellent. I'm glad that you bring this up, because I was talking with another player yesterday about creating a training schedule or setting boundaries and limits for themselves. And they said, oh, but it just feels so, because my suggestion was like, look, man, you say you can play 3 games at your max capacity, full blast, like locked in. And after that, it gets kind of touchy. And they're like, yes. Like, okay, you're going to play 3 games. 3 games with a 15-minute break in between. And they're like, oh, man, I don't know about that, man. Because, like, when I play, if I'm on a win streak, I just want to keep playing. But if I go on a loss streak, I have to, like, get that win back. And I'm like, yes, I totally understand that. And if that is what we're practicing. We're just practicing on you first noticing how you feel after that game. Second, we're going to practice you managing that emotion. And third is we're going to be practicing you choosing to follow this structure because you know it's going to pay off in the future. And that's all we're practicing. We're not practicing your shots. We're not practicing anything else besides this piece of emotional regulation. Because if this is hard for you or this is challenging, my suggestion is make a different account. Right? Make a different account, and on that account, you're just practicing different skills. You're practicing different, I guess, what are they called? Heroes? I don't know. In Overwatch,
Yeah.
are they called? Right. I'm a Here's the Storm player. So yes, different heroes. Like, you can practice those specific things, so it doesn't take away from your rank points or your rank in general. So you can literally make a practice account to practice these other skills that when you master them and you put them back into your main account, it's going to be flawless and seamless. So again, it may not be you practicing mechanics like in Kovacs or what have you, but instead, if it's this mental thing that's holding you back, or this thought or this feeling or this cognition that's holding you back, we're going to be practicing managing that cognition and that thought so you can get out of that your way and actually access your mechanics. How's that sound?
all right, that sounds pretty good.
So for you, I really do think it's you just noticing, okay, it's happening, or, oh my God, I'm putting the game on my back again. Okay, I need to try not to do this. Or, okay, I'm putting the game on my back again. That was last game. This game, I'm going to focus on something else. So you can literally practice this mental skill of catching yourself thinking about these things and then switching your focus. And again, that's all we're practicing. We're not practicing anything else. We're not focusing on anything else. We're just focusing on catching this thought and moving forward, or catching this thought and staying present and moving forward.
Okay,
How's that sound?
that sounds pretty good.
Cool, man. Is it cool if I kick you back down to the audience?
Yeah, just thank you, and
Dude.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, thank you for, dude, again, really, thank you for being brave. Thanks for coming up, and yeah, I appreciate you and your questions. Okay, I'm gonna kick you real fast, yeah?
All right.
Cool. I'm gonna answer some questions before I see two hands. This is getting epic. All right, I see two questions on my Twitch, so I'm gonna answer them real fast. Okay, Blues Adam says, "I'd like to know techniques to take back my mind from anxiety to competitive situations. I panic too much and lose all train of thought." Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so it seems like anxiety and panic, and when things are moving really quickly, that seems like it's really hard. So something that what's up, Exterior? Something that I think is important with anxiety and these racing thoughts is trying to find ways to slow yourself down, right? It's finding that space. Is it taking a break? Is it challenging your thoughts? Something. But my first suggestion is slow down, right? How can you get yourself to slow down? Typically in the like psychology clinical realm, it's like taking breaths, right? There's breath control, so you can kind of calm down that somatic, your heart rates, all of these things, so you can think more clearly. Other times it's really thinking about cognitively what's making you go fast and challenging your thoughts. But again, for you, when you reach this mode of anxiety or things are moving really quickly, it depends on the person. Is it a somatic thing that you're noticing first that you want to slow down? Is it a thoughts process that you're going to slow down? But again, my suggestion is taking breaks, writing down what you're thinking if you're anxious. You know, are doing some reality testing? Are these thoughts true, or I'm just blowing things out of proportion? Because what happens typically with anxiety and fast thoughts is they run away from us, right? So we think, oh my gosh, I'm having a bad day, and the next thing you're thinking about is I'm gonna die now, right? So how can we stop it if I'm having a bad day? What are things are contributing to my bad day? What are things are in my control that I can kind of take control of and change the outcome? Or how can I be focused for this next game, or just drop in and forget about it, focus about what's happening now, so I can work towards a future that's more realistic than the thought that in my head that it's running away with me. Good question. That's a great question. Okay. Gamer Diet asked, what are your thoughts on meditation? How do you deal with tilt in the middle of the game when you still need to perform for the remainder? Okay, a two-part question. So, meditation, mindfulness. I have my own 2 cents on the entire thing, but I'll save that for another talk. I think it's useful. Here's the thing, though. I think meditation and mindfulness and breathing, all these techniques are just as useful as taking a shower. They only work when you do them, right? So this is not a thing that's like, oh, I think this is really cool, I'm going to breathe right now. Sure, you can use that and it is effective. However, what makes it more effective is if you incorporate this thing into your practice. You know, we want to make this thing a practice. Like I said, only like a shower, you can shower once a week and you'll be clean for a day. But if you don't shower every day, you're still going to be the stinky kid, right? So if you want to incorporate breathing and meditation, incorporate it before the game. You know, be consistent in it. Incorporate it in the middle of between sets if you want, taking 10 deep breaths, what have you. Incorporate it afterwards if you want a nice wind down, you know, or when you wake up or something. But it's a practice. Mindfulness is a practice. So is it effective? Yes, because it will calm your bodies down. There are so many studies that show how breathing can affect your body and your relaxation and all these types of things. It can calm your thoughts. But again, if you don't practice it, it's going to be more challenging. And oftentimes that's what happens when I talk to players about it. They say, oh yeah, I've tried it once and it didn't work. And it's like, okay, well, you literally did it once. Of course it's not going to work. So instead, if you really want to use this technique, incorporate it in part of your routine. Try it out. There's a lot of different mindfulness techniques, different apps. I think Calm was one that we used a lot at USC with the students. And if not, there's box breathing, where you can breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold again for 4 seconds. And the way you can breathe in is you want to smell through your nose, like you're smelling roses, right? Because it's beautiful. And then when you breathe out, it's not right? Instead, it's like you're blowing out birthday candles, because life's a party, baby. So in like flowers, out like candles, and slow, right? That's the key. Because again, with anxiety, when things get really quick, we want to try to find ways to slow our body down, find ways to slow our mind down. Okay, and the second part is, how do you deal with tilt in the middle of the game when you need to perform for the remainder? Well, the thing with tilt is like, tilt is typically caused, and if you want to come to my AMA tomorrow, when I'm hosting a Twitter space, I'll be going over this again, because that's where it seems the poll is going. But the fun fact is, typically, tilt comes from 2 places, right? First place is frustration. Second, and frustration and fatigue, I'd say they're the two Fs, and the second is boredom, right? So I'm guessing that if you're in the middle of the game and getting this way, I'm saying you're frustrated or you're tired, right? And if you're tired, I'm sorry, like the best way to get untired is to stop, or at least have rested before the game so you have enough cognitive facilities and energies to play the game at your highest level. If you're frustrated, okay, let's talk about it. There's, a lot of in the moments reframing, letting go, is the breathing again. But why are you frustrated? Who are you frustrated at? If you're in a team game, is there ways that you can express your frustration or with your teammates in a healthy way? Hey, look, it's really mad. I get really upset when I try to tell you to do this thing, you don't do it, and we're died. I get really upset when I told you to peek this corner, you didn't, and we died. Next time, can you do what I say, or tell me if you're gonna come or not, right? So it could be a communication thing. It could be, okay, I need to do this better. It could be a stop beating myself up in the middle of the game. It could be okay, I need to pay attention to these things. So with tilt, why are you getting tilted? Who is this tilt directed at? And how can we bring ourselves back into the present moment to make those adjustments to play better in the future? Because again, our goal in the middle of the game is kind of having that short-term memory of what can we do to come back to the present so we can make better decisions moving forward. Again, if it's in the past, we can't do anything about the past. It's over. And if we continue to linger in the past or things that are irritating us in the past, then again, we're stuck there. We're not moving here or forward to the next game. And whether we like it or not, like life, there's be a next game, and we have to pick it up and keep going. And then afterwards, after the game, during our VOD review session or on our own, then we can review the past and see what we can take away. But if we do that in the 5 minutes between sets, we're kind of screwed for the next game. Cool. I hope that... Okay. All right. I got a couple more questions from the Twitch chat, but I see other people holding their hands up, so I'm going to invite Blues, and I got you, Kai. How's that? So Blues, come on stage, man. What's good, man?
Hello.
What's good? Welcome to the stage. Thanks for being brave. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Thank you. Thank you for doing this, first of all.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks, Voltaic, for having me,
It
man.
means a lot. So, you essentially answered my question. I asked it on Twitch chat, but later on I thought maybe talking about it would be more effective. So,
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to explain the situation technically, so I'll try to explain it over a hypothetical situation.
Okay. I like
That's
hypothetical.
okay
Yeah,
with you?
just talk about your friend. Your friend, not you.
Yeah.
Your friend. The guy that you know. Yeah, for sure. I got you.
So let's say a video game, Apex Legends. That's what I mainly play.
Okay.
So when a competitive situation happens, like a team fight, for example,
Yeah.
before the fight starts, I start thinking these negative thoughts, like I'm going to lose. The enemies are definitely better than me. They have to be better than me. So I start the fight believing that I will lose. First of all, that's the main problem. That's the start of the problem.
Okay,
And then
pause. Can I ask a real quick question? Why do you think you do that? Why do you think that you... Yeah.
I have anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay.
I've been getting treatment for the last 3 years, so I'm thinking maybe that's why.
Okay.
But I've always been a negative thinker, basically.
Ooh. Okay, I'm having Spider-Man 3 or was that No Way Home vibes. And I'm wondering do you vibe with the sentiment if I expect the worst and something good happens, then I'm happy, versus if I expect the worst and worst happens, I knew it.
Yeah, I knew it. That's usually how it happens.
Got you. So is it kind of I don't want to let myself down kind of thing, or what do you think that flavor is for you?
Well, it's more like I'm scared of repeating the same failure over and over again.
Okay.
Because I'm so sure I'm going to fail before I even start. So, that's what stops me from doing it to begin with, most of the times. So,
Got you. Okay, so you're afraid of repeating the same failure over and over again.
yes.
Okay.
And then,
And then?
yeah, let's say the fight begins and we start exchanging shots with
Okay.
the enemy. And that's when my brain goes full fight or flight mode. And I go somebody call 911. I'm getting attacked. Help! I'm gonna die.
On me. I got you.
Yes. And when the fight ends, if I lose, I reinforce my thoughts thinking, oh, I knew they were better than me. I knew I was going to lose. And if I somehow win, I say, oh, that was lucky. Like, I didn't deserve that win. They just did silly mistakes. That's how we won.
Wow.
That's
okay.
it. That's the problem.
Okay. Got it. So let me make sure I got it. Great insight. Thank you for sharing your insights and things that are bothering you. I really appreciate it. So let's start off with so your main thing is I get anxious in fights, and before the fight even happens, I think, oh man, we're gonna lose. And
Yes.
then if I do lose the fight, it's kind of like, I knew it. I'm bad. We're bad. What have you? Negative self-talk. Insert there. And then if you win, it's kind of like, oh dang, we're just really lucky. They suck, and this was like something that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How is this thought? Okay, when people tell me things like this, my first question back to them is like, how has this mindset helped you? How's it like got you to where you are, performing at the level that you are? Because the reason I'm asking this is it's gotten you here for like it obviously it's helped you. Thus you're here and you're using it, right? Like people always have motivated behaviors. I don't think people do nothing for nothing. So how has this mindset helped you? How has it pushed you forward or contributed to your life in a positive way or kept you safe somehow?
I honestly never thought of it that way, to be honest with you.
Sure, let's think about it now. We're just having some fun. We're thinking about this thought.
Helped me. It usually pushed me to like stay passive and like not do anything to begin with. Like, so I thought I was more relaxed, you know?
Mm,
Yeah, like I didn't take risks, so I was in my little comfort zone. Maybe that's how. Like,
oh,
of course, that's not helps. That doesn't help me, but I think it helps me in
I'm,
my mind.
yeah.
Maybe.
We're just thinking about it. If this is your first time thinking about it, again, we're gonna remove self judgment from our thoughts or why we think these things because again, we're just observing, right? We're just being active observers of what's happening in our brain. Because as soon as we start doing the pooping on ourselves, we stop it, right? And it becomes more of a hard exercise. But for now, we're just talking about like where does this come from? How is it helping me? So something that you said is that I thought of myself as a passive chill guy and I played maybe you didn't say this but how I kind of heard it is like I play safe and I don't take any risks. And if I'm going to relate that to something earlier you said is like if I think that the worst is going to happen, I'm really never let down when it does. And in fact, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got you. Okay. Got it. Okay. So I'm wondering like what would it be like for you to take a risk? Like, what is it like for you to be risk takey or take a risk on yourself or something that you want to do? What is that like for you? What's that experience like?
Recently, I'm really drawn to the idea because I think taking
Okay.
risks would open a lot of doors for me. Like that's it.
Ah.
You know, like it's the way to live. That's how I think about it right now. But I just don't know how to, reinforce that idea and actually like start taking risks.
Well, my friend, you have the literal best place to try it on because unbeknownst to you, sure, you may die in your game, but you don't die in real life. And the best thing about games is there's always a next one. There's always a next round. There's always something else that we can do and try again. That's why games were created, right? They're fun for us humans, for fun mental exercises to challenge us to do better and learn differently, right? So, if this is your thought, again, it always starts with awareness, my friend. When is it happening? Right? Because if we are unaware of when it's happening, and it sounds like for you, you're aware of that, it's happening every single fight, right? And the cool thing about Apex Legends is that there's a lot of fights. In fact, it pushes you together so you fight, right? So you have a lot of time to practice this thing. So a suggestion or something that you could try is, okay, I'm going to go into this game and I'm going to try my baby step of, okay, I'm going to win this fight, but maybe let's just focus on something more tangible. I'm going to kill somebody. I'm going to break someone's shield. I'm going to down my opponent. That's what I'm going to focus on. Or I'm going to go into this fight. I'm going to call positions. Because if we baby step somewhere closer to I'm going to win this fight versus I'm going to win this fight just straight on. It might be harder for us to take. And we want to move slowly away from that automatic thought of, I'm going to lose this fight. So instead, let's shift our focus just a little bit from I'm going to win to something more tangible that's going to contribute to us winning that fight. So what is that?
Yeah.
Or we can even take the switch. I'm not going to get my shield broken, right? I'm going to dodge. I'm going to be smart. I'm going to do something. So instead of focusing on the losing, let's focus on what's the first step to you winning. I'd say that's the in-game switch, you know, and again, write that down on a freaking Post-it like this, boop, put that on your computer. Every fight, I'm going to think I'm going to down one opponent. I'm going to ping one opponent. I'm going to do something, like I said, that's going to contribute to me winning fights. And slowly, after you start getting this first one, and like, okay, I'm nailing this thought. Okay, let's pair that with my next thought. And then I'm going to pair that to my next thought. And with these steps, I'm going to win this fight. What do you think?
So we're going to basically use use intrusive positive thoughts, right? Like
maybe
in the
not.
middle of all this negativity, we'll just try to, squeeze some positive thoughts or maybe neutral ones. Is that like
not intrusive. We're going to intentionally think and guide our attention to this other thing, right?
all right?
Because we can acknowledge that we can, like, okay, that, because I'm gonna, again, with like the first person asked the question, right? It's not that we don't want to, like, it's really hard to stop this thought if it's already happening, right? So we can hear the thought, oh, I'm gonna lose this fight, and then we can manually shift our attention to, okay, I hear you, but instead I'm going to down my next opponent.
Okay, that makes absolute sense.
And then if we don't down our opponent, we die. That's okay. We would pat ourselves in the back that we even did this process of acknowledging and seeing that thought, and then choosing to focus on, I'm going to down my opponent. Because, again, like that last person who asked their question, basically we're going to be focusing on doing this switch. That's all we're focusing on, away from the outcome of the game, away from the outcome of the fight, and instead we're really just focusing on that next mental piece so we can execute in the future fights. But for now, we need to get the skill or this thought switching pattern in our head so we can do that in the future. But if we don't do this first, it's going to be a lot harder. What do you think?
All right. It's definitely doable.
Good.
I'm definitely going to give it a try.
Yes. And for all of you guys in the audience, if I'm giving you a suggestion that you don't think is going to work for you, tell me how poopy it is, tell me why it's not going to work, and tell me something that you think will work instead. That's, as a esports psychologist and working with my players, that's what I try to do, is give them things that work for them, because everyone is different. So maybe something is going to work for you, Blues, may not be working, for Elijah or Dante or whatever. So again, if I give you something, please give me a correction or get me closer so I can understand how to help you. Cool?
All
right, man.
So
Good question.
You already answered my question twice, so I don't want to hold you any longer. Like, a lot of people are waiting in line already. So,
good question. All right, well,
this means a lot. This means a lot. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for coming up, man. All right, I'll boot you to the audience. Is that cool?
All right.
Boop. All right, I think I'm gonna switch to okay. That was a question. Okay. Spuzz was here, says, hi, I don't know if this is a question for you, but I want to ask how to focus more on studying because I need to study, but all I can think of gaming. Woo! Okay, well, really quick, I think that one is fun because gaming is more fun than studying, for sure, 100%. So what I would say is, one, if you need to study, find a place that you can study in. And this also, when I do this talk about places and spaces, it also involves gaming too, and you getting ready for your games or having a good gaming space. So for example, if you're trying to study and you're studying in your bedroom, don't do that. Don't study in your room. Save your room for chilling, relaxing, sleeping, all the fun stuff. So when you go to your room, I can chill out and vibe here. So outside on the living room table, maybe a library, maybe a Starbucks, somewhere outside so you can really go to that space and know that that's your study space. And even more specific, if you can find that same spot in the library, that same table at Starbucks, that same living room table, your body will know that when I sit in this place, that's what we're doing, okay? That's the same things goes with sleep. Save your bed for fun things and sleeping, and that's it. You know, unless you're reading to fall asleep or whatever, like don't study in your bed, don't do anything else in your bed. So when you go in your bed, your body knows, okay, it's time to knock out, right? So other things to help you study is blocking out time and having boundaries. Okay, I'm going to study for this long and then I'm going to play for this long. You know, if you're able to set those time boundaries and those commitments and removing yourself from the temptation or from the area in which that it might take away from your studyings, I think that will also help. You know, if you want to gamify it, that's great too. There's a technique, if you've heard about it, the Pomodoro technique. It's a very good one for studying. And what you do for the Pomodoro is you literally just set a timer for, you know, I set mine for 25 because my attention span is small. You know, you can set it for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, what have you. All you need to do is set the timer, study for that timer, and once it goes ding, stop, take a break, and also write down how much you're able to do. You know, for example, if your goal was to read the book or what have you, you can say, okay, after 25 minutes, I was able to read 3 pages. Okay, why that's important? I'd say the most important part of the Pomodoro technique is because from that 25 minutes, you know, you were able to read 3 pages, right? And say you had to read 15 pages. Okay, you understand that that's going to take 5 cycles of 25 theoretically for you to get through that work. So you can actually pace out your time, because why this helps is that, have you ever been at the end of a study session and be like, I spent 10 hours studying physics and I still don't know anything. Well, you can actually look at your time in your Pomodoro and say, wow, in this hours that I spent studying physics, these are all the concepts I learned. These are all the pages I reviewed. Wow, I did so much. You can actually see it. So after, again, you take your 5-minute break, set the clock again for another 20, 25, whatever your timer, and go for it again. 4 of those small cycles equals 1 Pomodoro. And after you finish 4, take a longer break, 15, 20 minutes, get something to eat, chill, and then repeat. You know, so those are some techniques: finding a space, using the Pomodoro, and really setting the boundaries of time in which you are designating to do things. Typically, that's how I found have helped my students when working with them during my postdoc, especially, or till this day. Cool. Great question. All right. Kai, come on to the stage. I'm gonna invite you. Welcome, Kai. How is it going, my friend?
Hello, thanks for having me. Thanks to Voltaic for having this as well.
Dude, thanks for being brave. What's good, man?
So I have like 3 questions.
Okay. It's a 1 question limit, but nah, just kidding, dude. Just kidding.
Oh, sorry.
no, just kidding. I'm just playing. All right. Okay,
Okay,
hit me.
My first question is when it comes on to retention in terms of well, gaming, of course.
Good question.
Because my biggest issue is that whenever, and I noticed it recently, that because I started clipping some of my gameplay just to try to go over it, I realized that, for example, if I'm pushing a fight, because I play a lot of Apex, if I'm pushing a fight, I realize that there's, like, for example, a ledge I can climb to take high ground or whatever. I just run towards the person and then I die repeatedly. And I noticed it last night. But so I started like starting to like clip some of my stuff to go over it.
Good.
And like, all right, I'm gonna not do this next time or whatever. I still find I have the issue where if I'm in like a high octane fight, I start tunnel visioning, and then when I go over the clip, I'm like, wait, this was the thing I said I wasn't going to do. So I'm just asking if you have any like, advice to like better my retention when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, good question. So the question is, how can I better retain what I'm learning or what I'm seeing or picking out my own mistakes to prevent myself from doing them again? Very good question. So something that I picked out that's really good is that you're actually going through your VODs or going through the replays to see what you're doing and how to improve. That's step 1. Question, have you ever written down these things?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay. Next suggestion is that you have a iPad or like a journal. Here's mine, right? I have just like around me. And literally just when you do go through these things, especially, I mean, it links perfectly to the studying and schooling. There's like a magical connection between your hand and your brain. I mean, there's a lot of studies that show that if you take notes by hand, you do better than people who take notes and just typing it. Because again, I think writing it, there's some weird connection versus typing it, and then maybe it'll be different for future generations. But for now, the studies have shown that writing things down is really helpful. So when you go through these things, my suggestion is to write down that, if you have like a list of things you want to like fix, focus on one 1 to 2. What are those common mistakes, the big sweeping themes that you're making, and just write it down. Then have it somewhere you can see in this next game, or even say, okay, I wrote it down. This game, I'm going to find cover or something. I don't know how you would write it down in a singular sentence for you, but just write it down in a singular sentence, put it on the side, make sure that you are focused on it that game. But like you said, something that I picked out too is like when it's a high octane situation, then I go into autopilot, right? And so maybe again, if you're gonna practice this, maybe something you can do is again create another account. And why I'm suggesting creating another account is because maybe the gunfights aren't as hard. Maybe the players you're playing against aren't as skilled because and again, why I'm suggesting is because if you go against easier competition or easier games, you can really focus on the thing that you're trying to focus on without focusing on just the outcome of that gunfight. But if you can focus that in your regular main account, that's fine. But again, in my experience, it's easier if you kind of smurf these smaller skills, and then again, when you go and review that Smurf game, did you do the thing or were you on autopilot again? And then we have to just keep revisiting, okay, I'm going to do this one thing. Or in the fight to say, okay, cover or something. Have that keyword for you to key into that one thing that you're trying to do. I think that can help with retention. So again, continue to review the VODs. Write that stuff down. Set your intention like during the game and just make sure it's only one thing. And after that, maybe create a Smurf so you can have easier competition or go into AI or whatever just to practice that one thing that you're doing. And then after we get that one thing, we can think that it should increase the other games and quality of games in the future. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm definitely going to start writing them down then.
Yeah, write that shit down. Also, what's really cool, especially if you date it, is like you can actually see your progression through the game. Like, I don't know, in this level, I was working on this, and on this level, I was working on that, but now I'm here, and I have all these skills that I've learned. Look how far I've come, and it's a cool time to pat yourself on the back, be like, dude, I'm growing, I'm learning, it's sick.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
All right, what other couple questions you got, bro? I got you.
All right, my other question is, I think it's similar to what Blues Adam was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, this happened last night. Where
fresh, okay.
I was solo against duos, and it was myself and two other teams. I killed one of the teams, and then I have this knack. I realized that I can like quickly like read like the situation, or maybe not read the situation, but get like a quick look at where I'm at and see like the play area. And then I realized that in terms of positioning, like I'm in a bad spot. And when the team pushed, they killed me. And I'm like, okay. So I just instantly just didn't try to fight them in that situation. So I guess essentially what I'm trying to ask is like how to like not lose heart in like desperate situations, or if I see that I'm in a bad spot, to at least try some more and just not give up.
Interesting. I've dealt with a similar issue with League of Legends players where after like a certain amount, like early game, 50 minutes, are like, this game is a doomer and I don't want to play anymore, and they just like clock out in their head. And that might be fine in solo queue, but that's definitely not okay in competitive, right? Like in collegiate or amateur or professional, like you can't just like tap out or like something, right? Because sometimes they don't let you FF scrims, or you can't FF a game, right? So in that case, my thought would be, okay, what is your next goal then? I'm going to die here. This game is a doomer. It's over. What can I get from this game? Can I get one good exchange? Can I try to get one shot, a headshot? Can I try to kill one person? Can I try to down somebody? Can I relay information to my team? Like, what's the next useful thing that you can do or you can focus on in that moment? Because if it's already over, try to get something out of it. But what is that thing? And if you try to find that thing that you can either work on or improve on in that one exchange or move on to that next goal, then it prevents us from tapping out in our minds. Like, okay, I'm going to shift my focus to this one thing, and if I do this one thing, it's a dub. So in that case, what is the dub for you?
Yeah, I get you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So it's just a matter of I get you. So it's a matter of, all right, you're not going to win the game per se. So just choose something from it to, at the very least, like cushion the blow of the loss in a sense.
Yes. Yes. If it's a doomer, like I'm saying, if it's done,
Right.
and what can I mean, this also, this is also the suggestions for people who are like, oh, I'm playing all these games, I'm just losing, and I'm not getting anything from these games. It's like, well, the focus then, if you're going to lose, take one last good fight. Try to get one more
Right.
combo in. What's that one thing that you can take out of this game? So we're continuously learning and growing, and we're shifting from just the outcome of that thing. But what did we learn through this experience, or we're trying to gain so we can apply it next time in the future? That's our goal. And if you do that, then we'll feel less defeated. I mean, less defeated than if we just focused on it was a doomer and I fucking whatever, I just tapped out.
Oh, okay, I get you. Yeah, I definitely understand that one.
Yeah, I feel that.
Alright,
That's a really
and,
common one. I feel that.
My last question. Well, I think this ties into what I just asked.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that any Apex player, well, solo queue Apex player will relate to. Whenever you're solo queuing and you get complete bots as teammates,
Ha!
and then when you see the champion squad, they're all 3-stack Preds, which it ties into what you were saying, like, okay, this match is a doomer. What can I get out of it? So it's like, I guess it ties back to like how to just not completely give up on the game and actually try when you go into the game, because you don't know whether or not if they might die off drop or what.
Yeah.
So I think it ties back to that, actually, now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, or even like knowing that rank isn't everything sometimes, right?
Right.
And like, sure, what's really interesting about what you're talking about is that you're in the same lobby as these people. So to deny yourself that you are good enough to compete in this lobby or whatever, and you're already starting off with, oh my gosh, they have a higher rank than me, there must be better. It's, let's try to reframe that thought of, I'm here with you, I'm just as good, and when people drop in, you have the same amount of weapons, you have the same amount of RNG in boxes, like everything is equal once you drop in. So I think it's, if we have that thought of, if this person has this rank, they must be X, you're there with them, you know, so you also must have skills and you must belong in that lobby, so show them. You know, I think that's one way to even reframe it. I'm here with you. I'm competing with you, and I can win.
Right.
So maybe try that mindset on. Just like try it on and see how it fits. But if it doesn't fit, then yeah, then we can switch it to, yeah, what am I going to get out of this game, or what is my goal for, or objective of this game? Is it okay? I may not win, so if I'm not going to win, what do I want to do so I can win in future games, or better myself for future games?
I get you.
How's that sound?
Yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah, I like the sound of that. So I'll definitely try those out.
Yeah, just try them on. We're just trying on different mindsets like clothes, and if they fit, cool. If they don't fit, let's try something else.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, you've answered pretty much everything that I wanted to ask.
Sick.
So thanks for this. Thanks for taking the time out to do this. I
No
appreciate
worries.
it.
No worries. I'm sure we'll do some more. All right, I'm gonna boot you. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Bye. All right, so I got another question. I'm gonna go to Dante. You've been really patient, and Dashi, I see you. So Twitch asks, I think it's Poppy II Val. Just want to piggyback / reaffirm something you had said earlier, or someone had mentioned about mechanisms to quote de-stress. Steve Jobs notoriously never had important meetings in a conference room. He always favored taking a walk to discuss important matters and whatnot. He believed the act of walking heightened moods, favored creativity, and was a big de-stressor. There's also a bunch of articles and science to back up that notion. Been doing it now for quite some time, and it takes quite some time. It 100% works. Yeah, another one that said Bill Gates is another one for always walking around and having his best ideas. Is there something about moving and walking and changing your environment just for a little bit that definitely helps clear the mind? I think there was a really interesting, I don't know if it was an article or something I said was, the reason why you leave a room and you forget why you like left that room and where you're going. I think it was like subconsciously, it was like walking through a door like makes you think that you're entering a new place and you forget why you went there because you literally walked through a door. So something about doors, and they're trying to make a statement on walking through doors and how that changes your mindset. So absolutely, walking helps. Let's see. Thanks for okay. Yep. Honestly, thank you, Cindy and Voltaic for putting this on and letting me do this. I'm having such a blast. So shout out to Voltaic again. I'm just reading through Twitch chat here. Okay, Exterion. Yeah, I can really back up the Pomodoro method. Thank you. It helped me a lot when I'd say, quote, I'm only studying for 30 minutes because it breaks it down and becomes a lot more approachable than just, quote, I need to study. Wishing you the best of luck for sure. Breaking things up into smaller steps definitely helps. Just like that other person we were talking about, how to slowly break down and step-by-step baby to the, I'm going to win the fight, right? We don't have to change that right at the bat, but just slowly baby step our way there. Okay, Dante, you ready, baby? Let's go. Come onto the stage, my friend. Come on down. I wish I had, like, buttons, like, make that Price is Right, like, sound.
What's going on?
Yo, what's good? What's good? How you doing, buddy?
Is my mic good? I just want to make sure it's not staticking or anything.
Sound buttery, dude, to me.
All right, awesome. So I just had a couple questions.
Yeah, dude.
Not like too much. Then some advice for if anyone wants it. Coming from someone who's kind of been playing competitively since sophomore year of high school. I've always been
Dang.
competitive in every single game, but I'm 20 now, so yeah.
Cool.
But I've dealt with a lot of these same problems that I've heard, especially like Darling and I DM'd him after you're talking. So yeah. But first, just kind of wanted to ask like a general question of like
Yeah.
overthinking in general is probably my biggest thing in games. I mean, I played for my high school back in sophomore year for Overwatch. It was like my first game I actually competed in. I was always competitive like in every game, but I never competed and actually like did scrims or anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I pretty much had to carry my team. No one cared but me. Like that's like when I knew like this is something I really like doing because I was the only person who would go and do stuff extra hours and all that.
Yeah.
But like I'll have days where I can go and play, and the same thing happened with Fortnite, right? I mean, I was pro in Fortnite, and I could go and destroy anybody, right, on Fortnite on build battles, right? Because build battles or creative or box fights, they didn't matter. You're just doing them for fun. You're practicing. The moment I get into a tournament, though, I just crap the bed. I'm awful. I'm god awful, right? I'd 1v1 pro like players who would won hundreds of thousands of dollars in creative and absolutely destroy them, which is a completely different game mode, right? There's game sense to it, right? But then I'd go, and it's not like people would tell me, oh, it's your game sense, which I knew it wasn't because I would lose 1v1s in every single tournament, yet I'm destroying these people who are at the top of the scene. And it's like the same with, you know, it doesn't even matter with that as well. Like there's also other things where I'll go and play a game of Overwatch and I'll play like McCree / Cassidy and I'll have the best aim like I've ever had. But then I'll go and play another game and I immediately get stuck in that past tense, like we were talking about earlier, where you're like, I don't really know if I'm going to miss a shot, but you just start thinking about your aim almost. That makes sense. You're thinking about your aim, which is like, you know, your aim is subconscious. You don't think about that stuff. It's like, it's just one. I don't know like what a in like real life example would be, but you don't think about breathing or walking, for example, right? So when you start thinking about breathing, I'm sure this has happened to some people here. Has any of your friends told you to like think about breathing and then you start doing it, which I probably just did it to all of you guys. I'm sorry. And you start thinking about it and it's like, well, shoot, this sucks. Like now I can't like, you know, because you just breathe automatically. Same with people in video games. And it sucks. Like, how do you get over that? Because it's something that I've gotten better at with meditation, and I've learned how to get into the flow state, which was something I was very able to do before I ended up having an injury at the gym 7 months ago. And I had chronic pain for about 4 months. And I'm still recovering from a lot of that as it's like an inflammation issue, I believe. I don't know fully. It's never been solved. And it doesn't really like mess with my gaming a lot. It used to, because I could never focus with how much like pain I would be in and just the anxiety and worries of it. But like that was like something I was able to do before, was go to the gym. And some of these people need to pick up on this now, like eating, going to the gym, and then meditating before you play video games. I swear to God, it'll make your performance 10 times better. You get in a flow state like these people in the NBA and all these people do, where they aren't even thinking, they're just playing. And your studies shown that like people like in the military, when like snipers, their accuracy and like their reaction is improved by like 70 to 60% because they're in this state of just like, you just do it. Like, you're not thinking about it. You're not, you're still thinking like about smart decisions, but you're just doing it subconsciously. And that's how we want to be at all times.
Yeah.
And like, I struggle to get there a lot now because I can't really go to the gym as much and my diet's like been not as good, but I like, if there's anything about how to get there, and also just to refresh your thoughts, I mean, the meditation always helps and stuff, slowing down. And I usually
Mhm.
take a big deep breath before like a clutch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of CS games I would do that. If I was the last person alive, I'd just let go of my mouse for a second and just take a deep fat breath, and it would help me a lot. My friends would like hear it on Discord and they're like, "What are you doing?" And then I'd clutch around and be like, "I'm calming down."
Yeah, I'm
But
centering myself.
it
For sure.
works.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, if you have anything, to just kind of calm your thoughts and just get in that state of like, I don't even know. It's like MUI from like Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I'm wondering, like, you said a couple of different things, and I guess I'm wondering how is I'd go into the Fortnite mode and destroy people, but then as soon as I play regular Fortnite, I can't do it, to the focusing or whatever, the flow state. So how are those two things related, you think?
When something matters, I can't get in. I get out of the state. It's not even like I'm in the state. Just when something matters, I have bad. I wouldn't say anxiety, but like just overthinking issues. I mean, I guess it kind of is anxiety. I did develop like really bad anxiety from the chronic pain issues I had when
Mhm.
like this happened beforehand as well, but
Yeah.
it like is worse now almost because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Okay.
like the anxiety and overthinking of just something that actually matters in game.
Yeah.
And even in person. I mean, even in real life, this happens. Like, you can't, people go and take a test and they study for 10 hours and then they go to the test and they absolutely bomb it. This is why I don't study, because that's what happens. And I mean, it's just like, I'm going to do is just as good as I am on the test. If I don't study, and even if I do study, I'm not even, it's just the same as like, if I don't study, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's like all this practice you put in is so slow when it comes to real things that matter. But when you're actually just playing by yourself, nothing matters, right? You're playing with the practice, and then the practice goes away.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. First suggestion: study. Studying is good. do that.
Yeah.
Second one is, it sounds like to me like there is use the word anxiety. I'll use the word stress.
Yeah.
And typically when these things happen, let's talk about stress for a little bit, right? Or anxiety or fears, because it seems like this is the common theme of today, and some things that you guys are dealing with or challenged with. And so let's talk about it. What is it? Where's it come from? Biologically, why do we have it? Like, should this be something to be avoided, or be afraid of, or to be villainized, or whatever? And if you think about why you have anxiety or why you have stress, right? If you were really to boil it down, it's to keep us alive, right? You're having all
Yeah.
these racing thoughts or all these things that you're thinking about because you need to consider all the ways that you could die. Right? If you want to think
Yeah.
about, like, if we were in a cave right now, right? We're a cave people, Neanderthals, what have you, and like a saber-toothed tiger came into our cave, what would we do? We would probably either, all the F's minus one of them. So we probably fight, freeze, what was the other one?
Yeah.
Run.
Um,
Fight, run, freeze,
Hide.
all of them, right? Because
yeah.
amygdala, the small little almond-shaped, two of them in your brain near the middle, right? Those are constantly assessing for danger, which is good because
Yeah.
we want to live, right? Living's great. Do more of it. Live, bros. And friends, girls, guys, live, right? We want to live, which is good. So thinking of why this happens is natural, and it's part of us, but it sounds like also what happens when it runs away from us and we start thinking of all these things are going to kill us. Cognitively, you can think about, is this really going to kill us? Is this failing this test? Is it going to kill us? Not being able to get the shot, is it going to kill us IRL? The answer to all these things is no, but it feels like it will. And our body, our primitive mind is not good at assessing literal fatal personal death and ego death. They feel the same to us and interpreted the same ways through our, archaic brain that has not changed over thousands of years, but life has changed very rapidly over the last 100, right? So our brain and our body has not caught up to now time. So it's better if we just kind of understand what's happening. So with fear and anxiety too, it's trying to keep us alive. It also alerts us to what things matter to us. Because like you said, like in some ways, these things playing by myself doesn't matter, and there's no stress, there's no pressure.
Yeah,
But
it's like if you're playing a game that doesn't matter to you, you're on a Smurf account for a game.
Yeah.
You're gonna play probably 10 times better because you don't care compared to your actual rank where you don't want to drop elo.
right,
So it's
exactly.
It's like when I would play Valorant, I wouldn't care about my rank whatsoever, and that's when I hit plat 3. And then when I started caring about it, I did absolutely atrocious because, I used to just go in a straight line and, out aim every single person in my rank. And now when I play that game, which I hate that game, I literally suck because I try and climb and it's like, no, I'm just not even going to play it.
Yeah, I've experienced the same thing when I try to climb too. Those games, especially when you get closer and closer to the next rank, become more and more difficult just because we change the way we're thinking, that we're changing the way we're playing. And sometimes, the thing that takes us out of flow is, one, trying to get there, and then two, realizing that we are there. Flow is one of these unconscious things that just happen. And when we do happen, just enjoy it, and just live in it. So I think even in those things, let's take stress for what it is. It's trying to keep us alive. It's good. And it's just showing us that we care. Now, when things kind of get out of line with the anxiety or the caring things, let's try to think about it. What is this stuff, like cognitively, we can start to ask, like, what does this mean to us? What are we trying to get out of this experience? And, or if I'm stressing out in this thing, what am I focusing on? Right? Am I focusing on my aim? Because if I'm focusing on my aim, I'm no longer doing the breathing thing, right? I'm no longer just not thinking about not breathing. I'm thinking about manually. And that takes up cognitive energy and space. So instead of focusing on aim or whatever, what are you focusing on? And then is that thing that you're focusing on helping or hindering you? And then from there, what would be a more helpful thing to focus on so we can compete? Are we focusing on how terrible we are? Are we focusing on that last shot we miss? Are we focusing on how my sweaty hand feels on this mouse? Because again, whatever I'm focusing on that it's not on the game, it's distracting me from the game. So thinking of those things, and even like, okay, if I'm feeling another thing with stress is we can reinterpret these things that are happening on with our body, right? So for example, man, my thoughts are racing right now, dude. Like, I don't even know what I'm thinking because there's so many things going on, right? You can take the 300 Spartan way of thinking of, I need all these thoughts right now. All these thoughts are helping me, consider all the different options. But right now, I need to focus on this one thing. And so instead of thinking, oh no, when I think a lot of thoughts, I'm freaking out, man. But instead you can think about, man, when I'm thinking about all these thoughts, it's just getting me ready to clutch this game. Just like you're taking a deep breath, it's the same thing. Or maybe it's I need to consider all these things and my brain is working overtime. And when when I'm feeling shaky and things are going crazy, that's just like a rocket ship taking off before it gets to space. This is me getting ready to rise to the challenge, not me dying. So we can reinterpret for you these moments of, quote, anxiety, quote, stress to something of you actually preparing your body. And I mean, studies have shown if we reframe stress as something that is helping us or something that's going to get us to where we need to be instead of something that's going to take us down, we actually use it and harness it and ride that beast instead of getting eaten by it. So just maybe those reframes of, oh man, okay, I'm playing against really hard people. I'm getting stressed out. I'm getting stressed because I care. Okay. Oh man, I'm thinking of all these thoughts. I need them to focus on what I need to be doing. Okay, I'm ready. Center myself, let's fucking go. So it's the you can also reinterpret these thoughts to say like you're ready or you're rising to the challenge versus, oh no, this is going to kill me. How's that fit for you?
Yeah. 100%. Sick. And like that also applies to like slowing down as well.
Absolutely.
Like, that's definitely a huge problem for a lot of people. I know that like 100%, like we all, you get these anxious thoughts and then, just like what Darling said, you try to like win for your team and you almost like have to speed up and it ruins a lot of stuff for like you and your team because you're trying to speed up and do everything yourself.
Yeah.
Which is something that I do too. And that like, that'll apply to it. It's just kind of like getting the moment.
Yep.
And also there's like certain things you can do too, like that people need to, there's like a lot of stuff you can do online. I recommend everyone to, if you're ever mad at a game, which if you play Valorant or CS:GO. Sorry, I just saw in the audience there's someone named Hee Hee Ha. That was pretty funny. I like that. But if you play any tilting games, I swear to God, this is like the best stuff you can do. I know it helped me. But
TikTok.
you can go and look up on YouTube. Swear to God, Zen music, and throw this shit on while you
Ooh.
game, and you will literally just practice your breathing between rounds
Ooh, Zen
and just
music.
calm you down.
Okay.
Yeah, just meditation music. And I did this when I played Valorant, when I was like actually trying to climb, and I climbed up, and I literally would just calm down, and I would literally get into these moments where I would just destroy everybody in the team, like everyone in the lobby. And I don't do as much as an Overwatch because I have to hear about like more because I'm a Tracer main, but
Oh, same.
it is very helpful when you're in these overthinking anxiety states that I recommend everyone does. And make sure you do, make sure you eat and stuff
Yep.
before you play as well, because that'll
100.
literally put you in a 100%, positive thing, which is like, I don't know. I learned a lot of this stuff online. You can look up a lot of this stuff online as well. This is obviously more helpful here with Voltaic. I appreciate them doing this, but literally just looking up like what people did, like Michael Jordan before games, or like what helps you get in flow state, which is something that I learned, that eating, meditation before you play, and rest and getting exercise are like the 4 things that your like body needs. There's like 5 different chemicals your brain needs to like get you in a state. And the biggest one that is in the video that I watched is you actually touched on this, by the way, as well, Sensei. You
Sick.
talked about setting a goal, not a like huge goal when you play, but to still gain something from the game.
Yep.
You talked about that with someone?
Mm-hmm.
So setting a goal before you play, or just in every game, that isn't so big that you can't achieve it, because like that's impractical, right?
Mhm.
Because getting into a flow state is, you actually have to be in a game. It's like you have to be in a game where it's not too hard, but it's a little bit above your challenge range, if that makes sense.
Yep. That's the zone
And
of proximal
So if
proximal
it's
learning,
way
yeah.
too hard for you, then
Mhm.
you have to set a goal that can be reached within that challenge range, and that can basically like manipulate your mind to getting into it.
Yep.
So every single game, I try to at least set a goal of, all right, I'm going to try and do this well this time. I'm going to try and
Yes.
land. I'm going to try and, get like this many kills, this many elims, like
Yes.
this gold, which on Overwatch is a lot harder. But like Valorant, I played with my buddy who's honestly could be pro at any game if he wanted to. He's just that good. We all have those friends. And I would literally just be like, all right, I want to do just as good as him or be right next to him this game. And it would like, since I could be next to him in most of my games where I wasn't even setting these goals, I could like use that as honestly like a mind manipulator. So if you can have someone that's a little bit better than you, can do that, or talk just anything that you're working on outside of the game,
Yes.
and practice ranges or stuff like that, that works as well. So yeah, just for anyone that wants to do that, 100%, I recommend it.
Yeah, 100%. Some things that I'll pick out for you that you said is, one, it's setting that intention, right? I think it's really cool that you found not only the intention, but you linked the intention with an external like factor to help remind you, and that was Zen music. So when I put my Zen music on, that's my external. When I hear this like Zen music come on, I'm going to be more Zen, or I'm going to remember to calm down. So you have that, that would be like an audible sticky note for you. For example, if you have playing that music and this music means be calm, it's just the same thing as I'm going to break someone's shield or focus on what's the next step of this fight. Put that post-it note on. That's really cool. Other thing that you said in the psychological terms is the zone of proximal development, right? So it being that zone of baby stepping and not overstepping, of trying to do a harder skill or something out of your reach, or that's just more challenging right now, and really making sure that what you're trying to learn is within your current skill range. The school example of that would be, if you're anything like me, man, and like you have a project, or you say like, oh, I'm gonna write X number of pages today from my paper, and you say, okay, I'm gonna write 5 pages, and things happen, you procrastinate, it's like you don't get it done, or you write a single page, right? Studies have shown that people who say, okay, instead of writing 5 pages, bro, I'm gonna write 10 pages, versus, okay, I didn't write 5 pages, I'm gonna write 1 page today. Studies have found that if you double down on the thing that you didn't do, the chances of you not doing it are astronomically higher than if you just halved your goal. So instead of reading, 10 pages, you read 2, you read 1. And also that the good feelings of your accomplishing is going to push you forward. You starting is going to push you forward, because oftentimes when people double down, it gets too big, it's too daunting, and they just don't do anything. So I think you hammered in a couple of good points, and also making sure that you have the basic building blocks of rest, food, shelter, all these kinds of things put in place so you can focus on higher level things. Absolutely, 100%.
100%. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people overlook that. Where
Yeah,
that was like definitely like my biggest thing when I tried going, like top pro in Fortnite, is I would literally put in more hours than anybody I knew, and I like lost weight and became so sleep deprived, and like got emotional issues, like not emotional, like just like mental, like issues from just not performing as well. But I
Yeah.
was putting in more hours than any other pro in the game. I would literally stay up all night and get 5 hours, 3 hours of sleep. And now that I look back at it, that I've quit, I realized how stupid I was, and that literally health matters honestly more than actually playing the like freaking game. Like it honestly does.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have good health, you can't think, can't play. Esports is a highly cognitive
And
thing. If you want to play
it's gonna be a
good,
while
yeah, you
until
got to
people
learn
actually
good.
see that.
I
Is
think
that
they'll
like
catch on. I'm feeling like
all
they're
these
catching
people?
on. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's more news related. People who actually play the games understand it, but
Yeah.
people who actually have the games,
Of course, yeah.
or not
I
like
don't
who stream the games, don't think these people just sit inside to play the games. No, like they have like actual health instructors and everything.
know. Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool, man. These are great questions, and thanks for the advice and the suggestions. Is
Yep.
it cool if I boot you and get Dashi to the
Yep.
stage? All right, man. Well, thank you so
Yep.
much, Dante. All
Later,
right.
man. Have
Bye.
a good one.
You too, man. Be safe out there. All right, Dashi, come on down. What's up, man? How are you?
Yo,
Yo,
my
what's
mic.
good?
Hey.
Now you sound good now.
Alright, straightforward. I'm 16, playing games since fucking years.
Word.
Like, first shooter up I ever played was like Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah.
I was fucking for 4. I was very young. No, but basically, like, we just got to the topic of Valorant. I find myself being always way over average. Like, I started like playing Valorant, and in like in 30 days I reached into diamond in like not
Whoa.
playing the game into diamond in 30 days.
Sick.
And like it's like sometime, and then I reached the point I wanted, and I want to get higher, but there's like I can't. I just can't. I just tried to push for immortal, but it's like the moment I reached diamond, I felt like everything left. My counter strikes were off. I just started crowd spraying for no reason. My one taps whiffed, and that's like I don't know.
Why do you think that happened? Interesting.
I don't know. Like, I did my aim practice. I warmed up. I've slept. Okay, my fucking sleeping schedule is like fuck, but it's like fucked since years. It's like I play. I get like I get to bed to like at 9 or 10 p.m.
Mhm.
And just like can't sleep. Like my brain just has like 1,000 thoughts. I just
Hmm.
can't sleep till like 1 or 2 a.m.
Okay.
And like, but I still feel good. Like I slept like 4 hours today, and when I woke up, like my brain was like 100% on. I was in school. Like I was always like knew the answer to the questions from the teachers. And like got home, my aim was crisp and all that shit. But I just as soon as I get my main and I try to like get for the fucking goal to get in the top 1% of the game, I just can't. Like every game I try to get competitive in, I just can't get it.
Like into the competitive mode or win their games?
It's just like I try to win, I try my best, but I just feel like I can't like reach level I reached before I was like close to it. Like as soon as I get close to being like immortal, I was like diamond 3, 50 or and then I just started whiffing for no reason.
Wow. Okay, interesting. So what I'm hearing is that you're trying to climb. You've reached immortal or diamond, high diamond, in 30
Yeah.
days essentially. But you're hard stuck and you're wondering like, why can't I get as high or break the ceiling?
Basically not break the ceiling. Why am I not at a level I couldn't be? Like as soon as I get like people like I was okay, like I would play like not really 30 days, but like I say 30 days because I barely played before. Bro. Like I played
Right.
like 1-2
Keep it
times
keep
a
it at
month.
30, man. Sounds better. Sounds better.
Yeah,
I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. 30 days, like period. The end.
Yeah. It's not act to start. Like the act start, I went through it, grinded every day. But before I was playing like with friends and just chilling.
Yeah.
But like as soon as I grabbed it up and was like, okay, let's go, let's grind this game. I went to like diamond. But like my aim is Chris, and all people think I'm immortal Smurf and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I just myself, I feel like I'm not that good as people think I am. Because like I see my mistakes I do, and I want to improve it. Like I hate myself if I hit like I missed a one tap. I hate myself if I just like fuck up my counter strafe. It's
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, it's just like I know I'm capable of doing it, but I just can't like do it in the moment I need it.
What do you think is holding you back?
Probably like maybe anxiety or like I want like yeah, like I just really want it, but like that anxiety of like I want it, but what if not? What if I don't get it?
Well, okay,
That
let's
might be an
explore
issue.
that. Let's explore that. What happens if you don't get it? What happens? What does that mean to you? Excuse me.
Basically, my mom said to me, "You can try to go pro, yeah." It's like she knows I'm pretty good. Like people like my cousins and all like they play as well. Like they talk about like I'm really good in every game I grab up. Like
Mm-hmm.
Warzone, it came out. I was in the top like 1% or something when it came out.
Sick.
Like, but like I just can't like stick to one game and grind it.
Yeah.
To like to full potential and stick to it. Just same as the sense, like so my sensitivity, I change it every week, every month. Like I just can't stick to it because I feel like it's holding me back. I just can't stick to things.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Same as
Let's
my
go. Let's
skill.
go
I
back
don't
to it.
know.
What happens? What happens if you don't like make that rank? If you don't make it, what does that mean to you?
Just like I feel like I don't. If I don't reach it, I just kind of fail until I couldn't reach my goal.
How old are you?
16.
Okay, you're 16. You can't. You can get signed till next year. You need to be 17, right?
Yeah.
So you
okay,
have
yeah. Well,
so you have an entire year to grow to even make you be eligible to be a player. Okay, so if you want to go pro, right? Do you believe that you can get there?
yeah. Like
Are you asking me or
yeah.
you're telling me?
I think I can do it.
What do you know?
Yeah.
What do you know? Do you know you can do it?
I know that I'm really good at games, but I'm not sure if I really am like the one like can be the best or like one of the best in the game. That's what I don't know. I know that I'm pretty good in the top players of like, but I know if like top in the top tier.
Okay,
But
are you willing to do what it takes to put in not just the hours of grinding the game, but to start thinking about what you're doing differently and have a strategy to get there? Are you willing to do that?
yes, I'm ready to sacrifice time, effort, brain for everything. Like literally, like to chase my dreams. I'm
Okay.
really focused on my dreams
Okay,
and
the
goals.
reason I'm asking you these questions is because if you don't believe that you can get there, and that's the first thing we have to fix. Because if this is your goal, and the first hurdle we have to fix for you is the outcome. Again, we need to stop being so focused on the outcome of the games because again, you have a year to mature to grow to even be eligible. So for right now, what you really need to focus on is you need to be focusing on the skills and the abilities and the things that you need to learn to be consistent in them so you can play. That's removed from things that are holding you back from like sensitivity. I'm not saying that sensitivity is not a factor. It could be, but it seems like if you're changing your sensitivity every game, it seems like when I've been working with players that they're trying to find something external to fix. And when I'm thinking about like traditional sports or anything, oh, it's my grip on the bat. Oh, it's how I tied my shoes. It's, oh, I didn't do this pre-game routine or what have you, right? It's this one thing that they are trying to hold on to. If I just change this one thing, I'm going to be able to play. But for you, I'm even wondering like, what are we focusing on besides the wins and losses and your ranks that you're trying to pick up, that you're trying to learn so you can progress? And that could even be managing that mental, right? Of I've hit this ceiling. And it seems like the thing that really stuck out with me was like, I don't feel like I can reach the same rank. And when I heard that, the thing in my head that I thought was, you did it before. Why can't you do it again? Of course you did it before. You're that good. And it sounds like the more that you're talking, the only thing that's holding you back is the thing between your 2 ears, man. So that being said, if we're going, and it seems like you got there in 30 days, you know, for some players that are naturally gifted and good at the game, what will happen is that off their natural ability, off their natural talent, they'll get to the next place. And that's fine. However, what's going to help them break through that thing is actually changing the strategy so they can learn the next thing to get to the next level. Right? Because like what's it say, was it who was saying? Dante was saying, right? Aiming after a while becomes natural, becomes something you don't need to think about. It comes automatic. So for those things, you may not need to worry about it, because if you're practicing your mechanics, those things should become automatic. And at the same time, it seems like when you're practicing, the thoughts that you're having that are automatic is, I'm not doing it, I'm not growing, I'm progressing, I don't know if I can do this. So even challenging those automatic thoughts, what other thoughts could we maybe switch or think about that could help you actually learn, not focus on the outcome of the game, focus on those skills, because if we focus on those skills and nail them down, the outcome should come. And if it isn't, it doesn't matter, because we're still picking up skills to better ourselves as a player, as a person, etc. But again, if it's in your mind of like, can you make it? Will you make it? Then these bumps in the road are just bumps, because we have a whole year to grow. And if we try to rush it, I don't want you to burn out when you get there. Like, damn, I've been grinding since I was 4, and now I made it when I'm 18, 17, and I'm done playing after half a year. It's like, dude, you worked so hard for this. What are the things that you're really focusing on so that you can grow? And be patient with yourself, because you're 16. Again, 1 year to grow and 1 year to improve. What are what are those skills?
I don't know. I know if like, I'm from Germany. A lot of people don't think I'm from Germany because my accent is a bit weird. But like, I know if I'm actually like sample at 17 in Germany. That's
Sure.
not what I know.
But even that, like, what would you want to focus on to get your mind so you can see what you're learning, to consistently nail those things down so you can get to the next level? Because I feel like you're really focused on the rank or the outcome of your games.
Basically, it's just weird. Every time I talk to people, because like people see, oh yeah, are you ranked to silver 3 the last act start, and then he went to diamond in 1 act and 30 dice, all that shit. They ask me, they want some advices. I'm telling them, don't care about winning or losing, focusing on like improving. Like even
Yeah.
if you lose, you learn something.
Absolutely.
But every time I try to use it, I'm failing it. Like I'm just, yeah, I know it, but I just can't use it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm thinking even in that sense, like, have you ever had an internal, like, when you're not getting the results you want, what is your internal talk like? Like, what is your internal dashi like? Is it like you would talk to a friend? Is it like harsh? Is it shamey? Is it guilty? Is it like, what is it like in there?
Oh, that's a tough question, kind of. Basically, if I yeah, wait, what was that question? I forgot it, bro.
Yeah, no worries,
What?
dude. Like, what is that internal voice like when you are not seeing you where you want to go? Is it like angry at yourself? Is it shaming yourself? Is it nice like your friends when they talk to you? Is it like, what is that internal dialogue with yourself like? Do you beat yourself up? Do you build yourself like, do you beat yourself down? You build yourself up? Like, what's it like?
I ask myself, why am I not like getting it, and then I just say, oh, like, oh, with that, like, my aim is shit, or like all those things. Like, I just blame me. Some people say for no reason, and I say there's a reason, because like I wished that I fucked it up, my bad, and yeah,
Okay.
I just if like, let's say like the past few days, like I'm moving there, and just a lot of stress from me. I literally sat on the fucking floor and played on moving boxes, and it was like I didn't expect to win, but I still shit on people and reached diamond 2 somehow. Unfucking like my whole setup was like on cart boxes set up, and I was sitting on the floor, and it was like my aim was still really good, and then just as soon as I got into I'm moved now. I got my chair and the table finally, and then I just sucked deep, and it took me 2 days to actually calm down and not be in that mindset of being okay. You gotta chill, you gotta stop playing now, and now I'm just chilling. I'm just doing the thing I usually do. Yeah, like
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think with you, I'm thinking something that might be super helpful is if, again, it sounds like you're very talented naturally, right? And it seems like you hit a point where like, why am I not doing it? Where's my talent? I don't feel like I have it anymore. You still have it. It's in you. You're still very talented. And I'm thinking your raw talent has taken you this far. And I'm thinking the next step in your evolution is you literally picking out skills and things that you want to work on and intentionally doing it. And my hypothesis is you've been talented in a lot of things, and maybe this is one of the areas where it's like, dang, why isn't my talent carrying me further? And maybe it's not supposed to. And to reach the next level, we're gonna have to do something different, because it sounds like if you continue this way, we're gonna continue to run our head into the wall. So I guess my question is like, what's one thing that you would want to try to do differently than what you've been doing? What is something you're willing to change?
I I tried to start when I started a game. Yeah, I barely played it. I only played Jet and Rainer and Duelist mainly.
Okay.
I started playing the same shit I did for example, Rainbow Six Siege. I was like, okay, let's go on a Smurf and try different things. I went into a Smurf, started playing Killjoy, started playing defensive controller, all that new stuff to learn the playstyle and the mindset of people who are maybe playing their role against me and
Okay.
predict them. Yeah,
Okay.
that's I
So
tried to get out of my comfort zone.
Okay. So some things that I picked out there is like, I think really good things is that you picked a role, and then you tried to learn that role, and then you went to other roles to see what that would be like, or how the mindset would be of those other characters. Maybe a suggestion would be, if like, for some people it's like having one trick, or having a singular role that they really know everything about, ins and outs. Some people that's kind of hard because it gets boring, and that's fine. But for you, when you do go to do those things, like, what are you specifically trying to learn? Are you trying to think about, too, if I'm going to think about this role and play other roles, how I'm thinking about how these two roles interact? I'm really thinking about, for you, the learning process and what you're really trying to get out of every single game, and really making that targeted and specific, so you have that confidence and you can point to, I've been focusing on this in my practices or my other games. And because I've been focusing on this, I see how this is improving my game, or I see how this is changing how I see my game. And because of that, I know I'm this good. Because I'm wondering if it's I've been just good, I don't know what I'm doing, I just am talented, but now my talent's not there and I'm not good now, versus actually being mindful and crafting a strategy of learning so you can point to specific things that you're doing to be that good. And I'm wondering that might help your confidence, that might help redirect your mental about the specific things that we're doing. And again, that also will help us de-emphasize the wins and losses of the games, and instead our own goal-directed wins and losses will be emphasized. What do you think?
Yeah.
That didn't sound great. What are you thinking, man?
I'm still I'm not that good at English. I'm just thinking and still trying to understand what you said. Takes some time. But,
Got you.
Not my mother tongue. But
Anywhere that I can clarify or make it easier, or make it more understandable for you?
I just need some time to think about what you said and what that means. So it just takes time.
Okay.
So yeah, just yeah.
Yeah. Well, to wrap it up for you,
It's just I got that issue of being not pushing through my skill ceiling, and I think I'm you're right. Talent can get you far, but a lot of pro players are talented, and they might be more talented or less talented than me in games, but you have to put in that hard work to actually be at the top. So
yeah.
I want to put in that work, and I do it. I sacrifice time to do
Yes.
it. I try to get out of comfort zone, It's just something's holding me back. Same as in, for example, school. Yeah, I'm like people think I'm like super intelligent. I'm like almost like never started for school like since 10 years and almost like aced a lot of things in school. Like I just like people like someone tells me about something, I just snap it, like just like click in my hat, and I understand it. It's just and like people like I just think I'm done. Then I'm just like, wait, how did I understand that fast? And I just like same as like yeah, now like why am I talking about it? It's like in maths. I think like, oh wait, I found this, but the teacher didn't talk about it. But is it actually right? Like, I know my back of the hat, it's right, but I'm still like making sure and asking my teacher if it's right. It's just that inconfidence in me if I'm right or not.
Yes,
That like,
yes. Okay, as you continue talking, the perception that I have of you, and you can correct me, is exactly what you're saying. You're probably very smart. Your processing speed is probably very high. Your ability to learn things is probably really quick. And probably from that extension, you applying what you've learned or saw probably is very, quick too, and probably accurate and off the clip very good. I think this is maybe one of the, like, again, you're saying, I think students, I've worked with students who kind of did the same thing. They've gone through high school and everything was easy. They need to study, and then as soon as they get to college and they want to do pre-med, and they're taking this biochemistry like weeder courses at the same time, they're like, oh, they have an identity crisis. Oh my God, who am I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Everything was easy, but now things are challenging and hard. Who am I? And for you, it's that kind of, I have the same kind of vibe where it's like I was good at math, or everyone thinks I'm so smart, or I'm really good at this game. But then we've hit this challenge, we hit this rock, we hit this wall. And now you're questioning, am I talented? Am I good enough? Am I, do I have the skills to do these things? And the answer of course, is yes, because like you've said, like I'm willing to put the time and effort in, which is great. I'm glad that you're willing to sacrifice the time. I think what we need to insert is your intention. Intention, and when I say intention, it's not the intention of you playing and putting in the time of grinding and the mechanics. I'm saying the intention of what you're actually trying to learn. And the reason I'm trying to reinforce this is once we be intentional in learning and have the and see our progress of what we're learning and how we can apply it, these new skills, your confidence is going to be based on something that you can see versus just your talent. Because if it's just your talent, then it's like, oh no, am I talented or not? That's like a God-given thing, right? I'm 6'5", I'm 6 feet, that's a thing. That's, I was born with this thing. But what you're talking about in esports, and if you really want to get good, we're talking about skills. And everything in esports can be learned. Sure, some people are more mechanically gifted than others. I'm not saying that. There is just mechanical freaks out there. At the same time, what esports is the great equalizer. And for my experience, the most successful esporters are the people that can think the best, who are the most creative, who can understand concepts, who can learn how to learn and then apply what they've learned consistently. Those people, and also being, not a dick into your teammates and being able to talk to people, those qualities outweigh mechanics at the pro level, at the higher ends. So for you, that's why I'm suggesting being intentional in what you're learning so you can base your confidence on something that you're seeing than just your talent. Because then if it's just your talent, then if you're not good, then you are bad. But that's not true. You're talented, you're gifted to this point. So let's reinforce your talent by focusing on specific skills in your learning. What do you think?
so basically saying, I have to I have to think about I'm it being a mindset. Yeah, I'm talented, but I also did that and this and that to improve myself, and I have to basically be confident about
Yes.
me to I did that to improve. So
Yes.
yeah.
So the steps, you've done the science. You can look back and say, these are the steps I did to get this good. Versus, I just played for 30 days, I'm just good. Yes, and on top of that, I focused on my setup. I focused on my communication. I focused on understanding the interaction between different characters. I understand how it works in this part of the game where I need to be. once you're, and like in conjunction with your talent, and you can point to these places and saying, this is why I'm good, you'll feel a lot more confident, you'll feel a lot more succinct, and you'll understand how to climb higher because you've done it before with a specific strategy.
Right.
Dude, that was a good question. That was a good discussion, man. What do you think now?
Well, yeah, that's something I have to like stick to it, like put in, like actually think about. Yeah, I did that and this and that to learn.
Yes.
And have to more like rely on, like basically, if you see, like I watch a lot of clips, Tans probably everyone knows it, him or something. Like he's like that crack aimer, and I know like I'm really good at aiming, and just like as soon as I like see myself whiffing, I just like hate it if I whiff, and then like so like now I have to like think about, it's just not only my aim that got me in that rank, it's just also me picking up the game fast, me
Exactly.
putting in the time.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this and that. I have to, yeah, I have to like use it, like utilize it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, that's the frame that we want. And then that whiff, if you do miss after doing all these things, it won't be, oh my God, because I'm a terrible person. We can blame it on something else. If, I was having a bad day because I know I put the time in and I know what I worked on. So I must be tired versus I'm bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sick, man. That was a good discussion, dude. Is it cool if I boot you back to the audience and take Matt Joss or Mate Joss?
Okay.
Okay, thanks, dude. That was good. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, good luck out there. Be intentional. Let's go.
Thanks. Right.
All right, Mate Joss, welcome to the stage. You're inviting you to the stage. There you are. What's up, Mate
hello.
Joss? Hello. What's good, man?
I'm good. I'm doing my math homework right now.
Yeah. I wish I could help you, but I cannot.
Yeah, I was listening to you talking with the guy and doing my homework. I wanted to ask you,
Yeah, dude.
like, I have a bad habit of changing my settings whenever I play badly.
Okay.
And I also really like to watch highlights on YouTube, like pro players, and then I will change my settings because I think they are bad.
Okay.
Like I can perform well on any settings, but whenever I play a bad game, I change them immediately.
Interesting. Okay. So you're wondering why you do that or how it's affecting you? What are you wondering about, dude?
I think like this makes me not consistent.
I would agree.
And I want advice how to quit it.
Stop it. There you go. Don't stop it. Don't do it. Well, I mean,
advice.
Thank you. I mean, that's the only ones I give, right? So, well, I'm thinking too, like, okay, so it seems like the pattern of behavior is you're playing on a certain setting and then something will go wrong, you'll have a bad game, and then you go just like, I think, what's his face? We just talked on the stage has the same kind of thing where they would change the settings or something like that, right? Too?
Yeah, I watch some highlights and then then I'm like, oh my God, he's so good. When I copy his settings, I will be good too.
Okay, yeah, and the thing with, I mean, I'm thinking, what happened is like you're playing with some settings, and it's kind of like when you go to someone else's computer or a new computer, and you're like, oh my God, these settings are so fast or these settings are so slow. But then after a while, when you start playing on those settings, you become used to it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking every time you change your setting, you get used to something and then you have to change it again. And you used to something and then you change it again. And that just, you're saying, oh, that makes me inconsistent. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. That sounds like it would make you inconsistent. And I'm wondering, and my hypothesis is like when you change your settings, you think that the settings will make you better.
Yeah, actually.
And okay, from your self-research, what have you found?
Like I was experimenting with my So, like 9 months ago, I started aim training and I got sick about it. I watched
Okay.
some, guides on YouTube how to improve with aiming, and then I was spending 5 or maybe even more hours daily only practicing my aim on aimbots or other maps in CS:GO.
Wow. Okay. And then what happened?
And like 3 months ago, or maybe two, I got introduced with Kovacs and Voltaic Community, and I started to play Kovacs instead of aimbots because I found it more effective.
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't really have time to play CS, and I sucked at the game.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So you started playing aimbot to improve your aim, and then you went to Kovacs instead because you thought it was more effective. But instead of playing the game, you started playing more Kovacs, and then when you went to the game, you started
Exactly.
sucking more. Interesting. Okay. So, okay, a couple
Like
of
I feel
oh,
my mouse control is getting better and better every day, but I'm playing so little CS and I get worse at it.
got it. And what do you think would be okay, other than your sensitivity, what are some other things that we could focus on instead to maybe improve your game?
Like lately I started to learn utility.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to get basic stuff on every map.
Yeah. Okay. Information and things like that. What are some other things other than sensitivity that we could play with or really focus on and try to learn so we can improve or learn the game better? Because it seems like you're putting a lot of time already into your aim, right? You're doing all the other things, but it seems like there's something happening when you actually go and play CS. And again, if
Like I'm focus more on my aim instead of gameplay.
yeah, so I'm wondering too if like kind of like when things become automatic, right? If we try to think about things that are automatic, then they become a little bit more difficult. For example, like if we focus on our breathing, we really attend to, am I breathing at the right pace? Do I have to breathe now? Versus like, okay, I'm gonna focus on talking with you, and the breathing is gonna come. Same thing, like because you're putting so much time into your aim, I'm thinking that might be something automatic that we can just do. But instead, I'm also wondering if it's other things in the game, your positioning, your map knowledge, your character knowledge that are getting in, like, that may not be being paid attention to as much. And because of that, we're not doing as well. And we're not putting ourselves in positions to get nice shots or easy, clean shots. But when things go wrong, you go, it must be my aim. What do you think?
Can you please repeat it?
No problem. So what I'm thinking is that you're focusing a lot on your aim, and you're putting a lot of emphasis on your aim and the sensitivity to improve your aim. But if I had to take a guess, your aiming and your shooting, because you're putting so much time in it, is probably fine. And so instead, I'm guessing that you are either, forgetting or not putting as much time or emphasis in your positioning, map knowledge, matchup knowledge, to put you in favorable positions to execute your shots. But because you're not focusing on that, when things go wrong, you think it must be your aim.
Yeah.
And then
think.
what compiles on top of that is you then change your settings so it's harder for you to aim again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because again, it seems like it's kind of funny because you put so much time into your aim on a specific setting, so you get used to that setting, right? And then you go into the game, and then you miss your shots, you change your settings, and then your aim is thrown off. And so it's like this weird circle you're going in of practicing
Vicious
your aim.
circle.
It is, dude. It's so vicious.
Yeah.
And so it's like almost as if it's like self-fulfilling prophecy of like, my aim is bad, so I'll change my settings, and makes my aim bad again. So I'll practice in getting my settings correct, and then it'll go bad again. I'll change, and then it feeds into itself. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, what if, and you can try it, what if we just found a setting that we're comfortable with, because that setting is yours. Sure, there might be an optimal one, and I don't know if there's an optimal one, but you've done the research, but I'm sure there's an optimal one for you. And
Yeah.
so once you find that optimal setting, what if we just tried to learn something different? What if we worked on positioning? What if we worked on peaking? What if we worked on something else more tangible and just left the aiming alone because we practiced that a lot already? You know what I mean? It's my vision for you, dude. It's kind of like, you ever been to the gym and you go to the gym and you see the dude that's just like all arms, like just upper body. Have you seen that? And they have like little tiny chicken legs.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And you're like, dude, you did arms already. Like, do some squats, do some calf raises, kind of balance yourself out. When I hear you speak, dude, about your aiming and your changing of settings, bro, you're all arms, dude. You're just a giant bicep, dude. You've been doing curls all freaking day. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, look at these bad boys, but you have these little chicken legs. And so the same thing kind of applies here. You know, instead of doing more biceps, doing more aiming, changing the settings, what if we just did some squats today? You know, what if we just focused on another area that we've been neglecting just a little bit? Just to, you know, I'm not worried about that. I'm sure you can curl a horse, but I want you to work on peaking today. So if that's the thought, for you, what's the next step that could help you? What's the next skill you could get besides aiming? That's where I would focus.
Just play more the game.
Oh, more specifically, what specific part of the game would you like to improve? Because if it's just play more, I want you to intentionally pick something up, because again, esports is about learning, getting better. So what specific thing do you want to focus on to get better at?
Probably game sense or something like this.
Good. Okay, so when you say game sense, that's really general. What specific game sense do you want to pick up?
Like what fights should I take and what I shouldn't.
Okay, that's a good start. So I'm gonna really focus on fights. And if I was gonna break fights down even smaller for you, I would say positioning. Maybe I think positioning is gonna be very important for you. And again, I don't know. Maybe it could be something different for you. But
Yeah, like I take every fight possible instead of going back.
yeah,
And then engaging again.
well, there you go, right? So my goal or my focus is on game sense, more specifically on fights, and maybe the baby step to that is taking more favorable fights, positioning myself in to be a favorable fight, something. So we're gonna baby step you to this thing, not just game sense, but okay, favorable fights. That's what I'm looking for. Break it down smaller. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Yeah, dude, your aim is fine. Stop changing your settings, and just you're all arms, bro. You're all just biceps. I need you to do some squats a little bit. Just try it out, okay? I know it might seem weird at first, you know, because we haven't used a leg machine before, but after a while, we're gonna start learning. We're gonna see, okay, my aim is good. I just need to do these other things, and my game sense will increase, and then I'll win more games, have more fun. How's that sound?
Sounds very good for me.
All right, man. Well, is it cool if I kick you back down to the audience?
I have one more question.
Oh yeah, dude, give it to me. Sorry, I thought you only had one. What's up?
Like I have anxiety of, many pro players now were like 16 and they were playing very good, and I'm turning 20 this year, and I'm like average player only. And I want to reach like FPL or something.
Mm-hmm. And so, where's your anxiety? Like, what is your anxiety concern?
Like, I won't have much time to play, and I won't get there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We said you don't have much time to play. What do you say?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say you don't have much time to play, or you feel pressured about the time to play?
It's more likely the second one.
You don't have time to play.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. This question also leads back into the first question. I mean, the first thing that we talked about, right? So if you have a very limited time to play, the times that we do have to play needs to be very intentional, needs to be very focused, so we can work on the skills that we need to climb, to improve. Because if it's not intentional and we're just playing, we don't have that luxury like other people may have to just put in games. So even more important for you, when you do play, we need to squeeze every lesson out. We need to squeeze every like goal out and be very intentional in what we're doing. So I think that might help you. I mean, it sounds anxiety provoking because we may not have that much time, but I mean, in that case, we must spend the time that we're playing very intentionally. How's that sound? How's that work for you?
So when I have only a little time to play and I'm like it's too little to go matchmaking, you know. So I just go and practice.
Okay. And when you do, is that practice tool by yourself, or is that practice tool with people? Like, what is that?
By myself.
Okay. Well, we could do is like, for example, if you only have time to play a singular game and you want to warm up in your practice tool, again, maybe the focus of the game is managing the anxiety that you have during the game, or fighting the urge to change your settings after we finish the game. You know, whatever skill you want to focus on for that game, let's set our intentions there and do it. Because I'm wondering too if there's might be a ranked anxiety fear of, you know, it makes me nervous even queuing up to play a ranked game. So that could even be our practice of the day, is queuing up for a ranked game and just playing it and managing our worries or our fears or our mind during that game. It doesn't have to be specifically a skill, like a mechanical skill. It can be just a mental skill that we're working on too. But again, if we don't have time to play every game that we play, let's set an intention, let's set a goal so we get something out of it.
Okay.
How's that sound? Does that work?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, try it out. I'm gonna host another one of these, and you can come back and let me know how it worked, okay?
Okay. Where's
right.
the next lesson?
Oh, soon, I hope. I mean, I don't know. Well, let me put you back down to the audience, and then I'll kind of wrap this up. Even though I'm sorry, I see people wanting to speak.
Yeah.
I was gonna put you in. Take a poll with everyone real fast. Is that cool?
Yeah. See you later.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for your question, dude. All right, so friends, thank you so much for coming. Is it okay if I ask? I mean, you show me. You can vote with your hands. I'm sorry, Ian, Ahmed, DJ, Izeems. Sorry I didn't get to your questions, but my goal is to hold more of these. And so, by show of hands, if you would like in this AMA, like if I was gonna hold another one, would you guys come again? Okay. Sick. Okay, hands down. This is fun. It's like I have my own little classroom. Okay. Did you, by show of hands, how many people found this helpful? This discussion helpful? Okay, out of 20, we got a lot of hands here. Okay. Okay, by show of hands, did you guys enjoy this? Was this fun and entertaining or insightful for you? Okay. Wow, this is really good. Okay, would you want me to hold, okay, show your hands again. Would you want me to hold another one of these for you in the future, like in the next month or so? Okay, well, sick. Well, thank you for your feedback. thank you for coming. I want to thank Voltaic for allowing me to come in to hold this hour. I was only supposed to do an hour and a half, but I'm sorry for taking more of your time. We're cruising for like 2 hours, and I only looked down at the time like, oh my gosh. The reason I was like, oh, I'm getting hungry. I need to like eat. So thank you to Voltaic and Simi for like holding me this time for us. And oh, my Duber says thank you too, and allowing me to come in and talk with you. And thank you for everyone asking their questions. And I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of them. My goal is to have more of these so we can ask more and I can let you know more about esports psychology, performance. I can hear your stories and talk with all of you more. So if you want to know me, more about me and what I do, you can find my website, psychsensei.com, and you can find all my information there. And even if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can file a... oh my gosh, you can fill out a consultation form and you and I can sit down to see what's going on and make a plan for you and all these things like that. Also, if you want to check out 1HP and all the things we do, we have physical therapists, we have a dietitian, we have another psychologist. So if you're wondering more, you can always ask us questions there too. If you'd like to join my Discord, you can... do you answer DMs on Discord? Yes, I do answer DMs on Discord. I try to make time to answer them all, especially if people have questions and things like that, because I would love to make psychology and esports psychology accessible to everyone. That being said, if you want more stuff that I do, tonight I'll be actually holding a checkpoint episode with Tyler. I believe he's a League of Legends or Valorant player, and we're talking about doing some mental coaching with them to see, what they want to work on, and hopefully can provide them with more insights and awareness for them to do their gaming better. So if you also would like to be a guest on my show, please visit my Discord or fill out my consultation form or whatever and say that you're interested in my 2 shows, either Queue Up or Checkpoint. Yes, my YouTube channel, you can find that through my website, psychsensei.com. I think if you also just YouTube PsychSensei, or you'll find me. It's a little, you see this logo here, it's green, PS, that's me. There's another PsychSensei, but that is not me. So yes, you can Google or YouTube myself, PsychSensei, or again, my website, psychsensei.com. But yeah, thank you so much again. I hope to hold another one of these, and please, my friends, be safe out there, treat each other kindly, and remember, stronger mental wins. All right, friends, thank you so much. I hope to talk with you more. Let's see on the stream. Thank you, Blues Adam. Thank you, Hot Rod Ray, Modest, Autisma, Cosmos, Spud Was, Cine, Ashcalls, Dark Mitch, Dark Match, Ish Model, Shaky. Oh, there's so many. Ian, Stabby, Zimmy, Zeems, Dr. Nocturne, and Quick Ticks, Lulz. Thank you all for the follows. I appreciate it and all the support. But again, you can find me on my Discord through 1HP or my website, psychsensei.com. All right, friends. Well, pieces. You guys have a nice day or nice evening wherever you are. Much love and take it easy. Peace. Bye.